Yo, recently watched Perry's video talking about All-Star Tower Defense X. I want to give my thoughts on it real quick, just, for funsies. So let's get into it. Just off the bat, do I like All-Star Tower Defense X? I would say yeah. I will preface this though. In my sincere opinion, out of Enemy Vanguard's Enemy Last Stand and All-Star Tower Defense X, All-Star Tower Defense X is the worst game. Like if I'm looking at it objectively or whatnot, like out of those three, in my opinion, All-Star Tower Defense X is the worst one. But I don't think that's necessarily such a horrible thing. Like I don't think it's really that serious. I don't think it's like worse enough for it to be bad. Like I think it's still good. I think all of those three games are good, right? But like if we're being serious, I don't think it holds up to those in their standards of quality. When it comes to unit effects, GUI, content. The game did just drop, so even though it's doing pretty good for content for just dropping, of course, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of stuff, I still prefer Enemy Last Stand and Enemy Vanguards over this game, but that's completely fine. It's completely fine. At the end of the day, I think even if it is worse than them, it's still competition. The game has a lot of potential to improve. It literally just released. Every update can either improve the game of quality of life, maybe improve the GUI. All the little nitpicks I have with it, for all I know, they might be gone in 5 updates. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, the game doesn't come off as polished as its other two competitors. But again, it's fine. I don't think it's as good as those two games, but I'll say I think it's fun. Like, truly, sincerely, I think the game is fun. And that's completely fine. That could be just a personal thing. Maybe for a lot of people, the game is just due to its lack of quality in some aspects, they just can't enjoy it. But I really do think it's fun. It comes off a little rough around the edges at times, but I think evolving the 4 stars into 5 stars is fun. Like evolving your Goku into his 5-star counterpart. I think it's so fun. I think there's a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of stuff to grind, but none of the things in particular are too grindy. Like, you have a lot of stuff to do, but none of it takes you like too long in one aspect. Like, you're always jumping around doing different stuff. Right, so I think that's a very good thing. I like how many units they have on release. I think if this game had dropped to just a couple 5 stars on banner and that's about it, it would have not been nearly as good. But the fact that there are a lot of units in the game, there's a lot of like NPC quests to do, I think in terms of that, it's doing very, very good, and I've just been having a lot of fun with it. That's really it. If I had to give like any serious complaints, I already briefly mentioned it, but I do think the GUI feels very dated. It just doesn't feel to the same level of quality as Enemy Last Stand or Enemy Vanguards. Don't get me wrong, it does the job. I'm not saying it's horrible. It just feels a little bit dated. Also, the game's reroll system, from what I'm seeing right now, I'm probably not gonna be a big fan of. And I know the game did just come out, so maybe they'll add more ways to get rerolls. But in my opinion, I low-key hate that the reroll system has become a norm, but it's just the way it is. But the traits in this game, the only benefit I can give it is that All-Star, like the unique or whatnot, is only 1 in 500, and it's not as OP as other games, right? So I give it that. But overall, I still think that most games that do rerolls should try to spoil you a little bit with rerolls. Like, give you multiple avenues to get it. And from what I've seen so far, there doesn't seem to be too many ways to get rerolls free to play. Don't get me wrong, you get a few here or there. I think the daily challenge can give you some. When you do an infinite, there's a chance you can get some, like from the void loot bags. So there are some ways to get it free to play, but I just don't think it's enough. Because at the end of the day, remember, it's gonna take you 500 rerolls on average to get your first all-star, which is like what everyone's going after, right? The really rare trait. And from what I'm seeing, it's gonna take a very long time for a free-to-play player to reach that much. So in my opinion, I'm not a big fan of. The same way, and I'm not gonna hold it to a separate standard. I didn't like the way Anime Adventures had their reroll system. When Anime Vanguard's first release, I thought that the reroll system was going to be bad. What Enemy Vanguards luckily did was that they added a lot of avenues for you to get tree rerolls as the game progressed. Like, every game mode they added gave you a new shop to get more rerolls, event shops and all this stuff. They gave you multiple ways of getting rerolls. So that's the way Enemy Vanguards went about fixing the issue. And for all I know, All-Star Tower Defense will do the same. So I'm not going to like write it off just yet. But I'm saying, in my opinion, I've never really liked rerolls being super duper rare. And in this game, they do feel a little bit more rare, especially compared to the other two games. But that's fine. I think there's still room for improvement. But yeah, I don't want to yap for too long. But basically, my whole TLDR, All-Star Tower Defense X is not as good as Enemy Last Stand or Enemy Vanguards, and that is okay. It's fine. Because at the end of the day, the game is fun, and that's all I really care about. And also, before I finish off the video, I'll preface, I never played All-Star Tower Defense. Like, I never really played the old version. I tried it out like for 5 minutes and I quit. So I don't have any previous precedent, because I've heard a lot of people say they missed the old version, that the new version removed the stuff that made it good. I don't have that previous perception of the game, so maybe I'm lacking that perspective, But I'm just saying, from my POV as a, a new customer, whatnot, fresh mind, I think the game is fun. Not as good as some of its competition, but it's still fun. That's all that matters. I'm gonna continue playing it, and I hope the game gets better. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'm very curious. I've been seeing a lot of mixed opinions on this game. But yeah, have a good one. Bye-bye.